Greetings Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live, from the Maverick News Network, World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone. Maverick family, new viewers from all over the world. Great to have you here tonight. We have a lot to share with you. Wildfires out of control, and so is the lunatic, the president in the White House, who tonight is threatening massive tariffs on Canada, going to hold Canada accountable for the wildfires. So there's that, and the fallout from, the lunatic, the president in the White House, followed from his election fraud speech from last night. And the dude that he put in charge of Homeland Security, he had another news conference this morning to add fuel to that fire, threatening public officials, top election officials in all 50 states with criminal charges if they don't comply with the Trump administration's demands to feed their voter rolls through a federal database. Wow. I've gone through a bunch of the documents. We'll talk about a bit about it tonight. It is wearing thin with me, honestly. And I'll tell you why through the program tonight. Also, what else do we have? Reaction to the wildfires, reaction to the reactions of the wildfires from both sides of the border. We have Canadian politicians commenting on the U.S. side, U.S. politicians commenting over on the Canadian side. We have ongoing trade negotiations and disputes. We have Mexican Foreign Affairs Minister meeting with the Canadian Foreign Affairs Minister. We have, I don't know, what else do we have? We have a movie at the end of all of the insanity. I am not going to run anything heavy tonight. It is sort of heavy in that it's mentally stimulating, intellectually stimulating, I think, but it's very entertaining and it's a really good film. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. I might get you to guess. I might not. I'm going to keep you guessing on whether I'm going to have you guess or not what the movie is, but it's a good one. It's an oldie, but a really good one, a really goodie. So don't leave. Stick around. I have all kinds of stuff to share with you, even if you hate my guts because you think that I'm some deranged liberal or some deranged fascistic conservative lunatic. I can assure you I'm not. I'm a pretty reasonable guy overall. You might even get to like me before the show is over. But you got to stick around to the end for the punchline.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom. Greetings brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
It is still smoky out there everywhere. I was speaking to a friend of mine from Windsor, Ontario, right there on the Windsor-Detroit, U.S.-Canada border, where they've got that controversial bridge, Gordie Howe Bridge, set to open on the 27th. So we're only about just over a week away from that, 10 days. But it's smoky because the smoke does not respect international borders. It just drifts wherever the winds or the jet stream might carry it. So as of tonight, Canada is battling about 900 active wildfires, with more than 2.7 million hectares burned so far, excuse me, this year. And the situation is most critical in northern Ontario right now, where extreme fire danger and high winds have forced evacuations in many communities. Dozens of fires burning out of control northwest of Thunder Bay, including a massive blaze that has already destroyed homes on a First Nations community there. Alberta has sent firefighters and aircraft to assist, and the province is coordinating with federal officials for potential large-scale evacuations. It is, without a doubt, a disaster. Now, out west, fires in British Columbia near Boston Bar have grown significantly, destroying buildings and triggering evacuation orders. There have been alerts for hundreds of properties in the Northwest Territories near Fort Simpson. Forest fires up there continue to burn, affecting about 50,000 hectares. Wildfire smoke blanketing much of eastern Canada and drifting into the northern United States. That has prompted air quality warnings on the U.S. side of the border and in Canada, and health concerns in many, many areas. And that has turned into something of a political game. I'd say game is probably a good one. Right off the top, the thing I think that is of most note is the post by Donald J. Trump. Donnie T. He is saying Canada will be held accountable for the wildfires, more specifically to the damage it's being done to the United States. Here it is right here. We are holding Canada responsible for the fact that they are not properly maintaining their forests and brush therein. And the United States is being unnecessarily, get this word, is being unnecessarily invaded by filthy, polluted, and unhealthy air, the quality of which is dangerous and totally unacceptable. I'm telling you right now, this is me speaking, not him. The use of that word invaded is not an accident. That's very intentional. And the adjectives, these descriptive words, filthy, polluted, unhealthy, also being chosen with extreme intent. These are words designed to disrupt. This is all about the 51st state stuff. This is being used as just another point of leverage against Canada as he seeks to annex the country and generate anger and, in the minds of people, some sort of moral justification for sending the military even up here if necessary to achieve his goals. This is manifest destiny in action. The concept, the ideology behind it, this is it in action. It's thinly veiled and you can't see it because of the smoke screen, but that's what this is. Any crisis, turn it, flip it, point a finger, lay blame, sow seeds of doubt in the competence and even the legitimacy of the government you are trying to overthrow, unseat. Anyway, he continues here, the quality, and that's my genuine opinion, based on a lot of time sitting in this chair and talking to people and doing some research and observing what is really going on. There's no doubt in my mind he is very serious about it. In any event, he continues, the quality of which is dangerous, referring to the air, and totally unacceptable. He says, I will call the prime minister during the day to find out what they are going to do about it. The cost is incalculable. Canada has refused to engage in basic forest management and debris removal, knowing that such refusal will lead to exactly this result. I've heard this argument before. It's silly in this case. It's nonsensical, and he knows it. I'll show you why in a moment. He says this is willful negligence and becoming a yearly occurrence, costing the United States billions of dollars, which cost of this pollution must of necessity be added to the tariffs Canada is currently paying. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This is, forgive me, stupid. Maybe he could be psychotic. Yeah, that might well be it. He might be certifiably nuts. Kind of dumb, but maybe not. Look, man. Yeah, you do engage, and you must engage in proper forest management in areas around, inhabited areas, communities, towns, villages, cities, where you have forested areas. Yeah, you want to manage those. You want to make sure that underbrush and dead wood is cleared out, minimizing the fire risk and so on. But this is Canada, okay? This is massive. You don't just send some people out there with rakes and start cleaning up weeds. And that's what essentially Trump is getting at here. That's what forest management is about. You go into provincial parks or, maybe even to some degree, Algonquin Park, where you have, delicate ecosystems where you want to do a couple of things, and that's to make sure that the biodiversity of the vegetation. I'm not an expert in the area. I've done stories on it in the past, but I know a little bit, but I'm no expert, but I know that, yeah, you clear out dead wood, and you even have controlled burns in some cases. You set things on fire in a controlled way to clear out some areas so that certain kinds of vegetation can grow back, or to minimize the risk of fire because you're getting rid of material that is easily combustible. But you're talking about the second largest country by land mass in the world. And a lot of the areas involved are sparsely populated, if inhabited at all. It's very difficult to get to some of these places and get airlifted in. It's not like you just call up the fire department, dial 911, and they send a fire truck around, or, just order up one water bomber and put the flames out. A lot of ground to cover, and that's huge money and logistically very, very difficult to manage. Could we have more water bombers and put more money into those things? I would say yes, but that's not really what Trump is getting at here. He's just making crap up, exaggerating. That's the playbook. That's what's been going on for quite a while. I'm seeing it in the political arena around the world right now. People in the in that camp, that's what they're doing. They're just making stuff up, exaggerating grains of truth, and then this is just Trump being an opportunist, a political opportunist. They put more pressure on Canada again. And U.S. politicians, as we've shown you over the last 2 days, complaining, other politicians chiming in with Trump, or as Ontario's Premier Doug Ford would say, they're chirping. He said instead of chirping, they should be chipping in to help a little bit.
As for other elected officials in the U.S., I have to remind the American people, when there was wildfires in California, we had our water bombers on standby. The only reason we couldn't send them because they didn't have the water to get the water bombers filled up. When the hurricanes happened, I think it was last year, down in Georgia, North Carolina, we sent our linemen down there to reconnect. We sent resources, we sent everything. So, a good neighbor, and I truly believe the Americans are good neighbors. If there's some politicians out there chirping away, well, maybe what you should do rather than complain is send support, send help, because we have done the exact same thing for our American friends, and that's what you're supposed to do. As for other...
Yeah, and you can always do things better. It's easy to criticize. More damage control on the Canadian side to all these political attacks coming from the U.S. side, as Ford appears on ABC.
An update on his province's efforts to fight those wildfires. And he joins me now live from his emergency management center. Doug, good to see you. I know you're busy, and I appreciate you calling in at the last minute here. So bring us up to date on the situation, and are firefighters any closer to getting these fires under control?
Well, thank you for having me on, Kira. We're seeing right now 191 active fires encompassing approximately 650,000 hectares. It's moving at a speed we've never seen before, approximately 4 kilometers every single hour. It's moving quickly. When winds pick up, it's burning very, very quickly right now. We have over 100 aircraft in the air, combinations of helicopter water bombers and airplane water bombers as well. I'll give you an idea. Ontario is 1,070,000 square kilometers. So 600,000 square miles.
Doug,
more than 600, about twice the size.
And you're talking about how fast these, fires are moving. I mean, we're seeing wildfire smoke travel thousands of miles into the United States now. I mean, we've got a live shot up, and I know you probably can't see it, but it's what it looks like here in DC. It's what I woke up to this morning. I mean, I had to put lights on in some parts of where I was driving to get into work because of how thick the smoke was. How concerned are you about the growing impact beyond Canada's borders? And what is your message, to those in the United States who are now dealing with this smoke?
Well, we need support. If they can send something, I want to give a shout out to Governor Healy from Massachusetts. Incredible person, called up and said, how can I help you? Governor Walz in Minnesota, that they're seeing wildfires as well, that jump from Minnesota into Ontario. Now, a combination of both of them together, they're the second largest wildfire here in Ontario. But this is what neighbors do, and we collaborate. I got a call from Governor Walz
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So here, where I live, it's still smoky. It is better today than it was like yesterday. I'm just checking to see, you know, what the latest clips are. Much of the same kind of images that we've seen for the last few days. Okay, so here's, this is Maryland, I think. Let's show you this from Fox News, the local affiliate there. And yeah, it's, I think this is the worst it's ever been. That is true. No denying that.
But first here at 4, it is not the heat, it is not the humidity, it is this.
Wow.
Yes, it's filling up all of our Fox 5 sky cams. We're talking about the smoky haze as we take a live look from our studio here, right around our studio here in Bethesda. Right now, where the air quality is some of the worst in the country, and it's all due to Canada and their wildfires. We've been telling you all about it, and here we are now dealing with their problem once again.
That's right, burning through Canada, and it's not just here. New York City, Chicago, Detroit also getting the brunt of the smoky pollution, with the Windy City and Motor City under code maroon, the worst it could be. Earlier today, D.C. saw its first code purple since 2023.
I know, this is crazy. We have live team coverage for all of you on what to do and also what not to do to keep yourself safe in this heat and in this haze. We're going to catch up with our Bob Barnard and Sydney Persing in just...
All right. Okay. Yeah, it's unhealthy. No question about that either. So if you are out there, I don't know where to go. There's nowhere to run. But it's nasty. Let's move on though, shall we? We've been on this wildfire stuff to the point where it is just wearing me down. I'm sure it must be wearing you down too. We're going to get through it. I don't know how, but we'll get through it, man. We'll get through it. Well, here's one more clip before we go. This is on, I don't know, some U.S. channel where they're crapping on Canada. That's in the thumbnail tonight. It's like Donnie T is taking a crap on Canada. It's like 1,000,000% tariffs now. Like if there's like, he's going to put tariffs on us for forest fires, tariffs for this and tariffs for that, tariffs and there's tariffs on the tariffs. You know, he hurts his own people when he does that. And he hurts his own industries, because when you put tariffs on stuff that, especially things that are inputs into other products that are manufactured in the United States, like aluminum, steel, whatever, even if you're buying domestically, it still drives the price up because it reduces supply. And then you have the highest cost country in the world to produce anything. Do you think that's actually resulting in businesses moving to the United States to invest? There's a big wide world out there. I mean, if all you're focused on is supplying the US market, then yeah, maybe But if you want to produce stuff and export it to other countries, tariffs are not the answer. It makes your factories, your manufacturing base, and other sectors of your economy less competitive. It's stupid. It's the dumbest, stupidest economic policy ever. All right, we'll run this. Here we go. One more clip before we shift gears. Well, it takes time for these economic policies to shake down and get to where, the effects are really felt. It can take sometimes years, months, if not years, but it's there and it's already happening. He's just lying about it. Yeah, they're just running the graphic of Trump. That's all that they did there. Okay, we've already shown you that. We're already ahead of them. That wasn't actually the report we were supposed to run. But it doesn't matter. You know what's going on. The world's on fire. It's no big deal. It's just the world's on fire tonight. You know. This is pretty gross looking. I'm gonna run this. It just came up. No, I'm not gonna run it. Never mind. False alarm. We've shown you a lot of this stuff. A lot of this out there tonight is recycled stuff. So the new video posts are in decline. Yeah, about 900 fires. Okay. It's bad. Now, the fallout from last night's Trump speech on election fraud. I don't know how many of you went and downloaded all the files and started to look at the stuff, but the bottom line is, I have to say that, like, in 2020, it was like, well, in the last election, it did seem like there were a lot of strange things going on, but a lot of it is, in hindsight, the questions surrounding election integrity. There were ideas implanted in people's minds. And while the stories that came out seemed to have some credibility, and that because they appeared to be credible and were being conveyed to us by people in positions sort of authority or of trust, the reality is Trump has never really coughed up the evidence, the smoking gun, to say, there it is. This is what I was talking about. And this includes the first in a series of document dumps that we gained access to last night during and after his speech on election integrity, election fraud, rigging. And after going through this stuff, I have to say, I haven't been able to really find anything in there that is that smoking gun. In fact, quite the contrary. Everything I'm seeing is stuff that's pretty much being released in one way or another before, whether you're talking about the burn bags or it was just a big nothing burger last night. This is what gets me upset, because if you really can't deliver the goods, even as you're sitting there saying that here are all the documents to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that what I'm telling you is the absolute truth, that's not the case. There are certainly documents in there that touch issues like foreign governments trying to influence the election, China engaging in activities to, affect, influence social media, even some companies. But much of that kind of activity, I don't think it's necessarily even illegal. It is something that should be of concern because it affects election integrity, maybe to some degree, even national security, because you want secure elections, but nothing there. There's no proof that I've seen to show that any actual action was taken, even as some vulnerabilities were identified in the election process and election machines and all of this. And the bottom line is we're no further ahead. It's just recycled information and allegations. That's not healthy in my view. But what I do see going on is Trump is doing what he always does, and that's trying to own and control the narrative and the information warfare space to control what people think. He is releasing documents, and for people within the MAGA base, his staunch supporters, that will be enough. Look, he's got a bunch of documents he released. That's the proof. They probably won't read it. And even if they do, and it doesn't really tell them anything, they will just say, well, there's proof. It's documents. There's a bunch of FBI documents and CIA documents, and here's a report and a study and a this and a that. And they'll believe what they want to believe because they want to believe it. But there's no actual evidence to say that something happened here and or in all these different places to actually have affected the outcome of the election. That's my take. That's my assessment of it. Nearly 24 hours after the first document dump, and there will be other ones. And Trump is he's doing the same thing with like even healthcare. And this is why people are having trouble finding trust, it's eroding trust in government institutions and government itself. People don't know who to trust, what to trust, what's the truth, what isn't the truth. If you go to government websites that deal with healthcare, as soon as RFK Jr. stepped into his role as the government's leading health guru, information on websites was changed, in some cases flipped, right? So who was telling the truth, the government that we had before or the government that the world in the United States has now? Which one do you believe? Because much of the information is in opposition to itself. So that's what's going on with this as well. If they have control of the government, then they have control of all those government agencies, those websites, these platforms that people have come to trust over time. And it doesn't matter if they tell the truth or if they lie. They just put the information out there on a government website with a government logo on it and a signature from a president, and then you're supposed to believe it. And a lot of people will. When he's not president anymore, people won't listen to him as much and they won't put as much weight behind what he says. It's the strangest thing with people. It's something I've always observed, even as a journalist. People always looking to government to solve problems. The economy sucks. The government has to solve it. We've got a problem with the barking dog on 3rd Street. Government has to solve that. I'm not getting enough vitamin C from my oranges. Government has to solve that. And government has a role to play in a lot of these things, but which government do you believe? I don't trust this guy anymore at all because he keeps doing this kind of stuff. And like I said, most people just will, the vast majority will not even look at the documents. They're not going to take the time to read all that. It's just, he knows that just dumping documents will be enough in his mind. And then it will be up to his opponents to debunk them or to show that there's no validity to what he is saying. In the meantime, the public gets caught in the middle and people end up losing their minds. It literally can drive people crazy. because it's not truth. And more than that, maybe even more importantly, it isn't honest. And it's damaging to the country because it just further undermines trust in the institutions. And this is, in fact, there was a question asked by Caitlin Collins of Caroline Leavitt in the White House yesterday. And this is beautiful, actually. This is beautiful. Why then, if it's this serious, this is what I said last night going into it. Like, if it's in it indirectly, if it's this serious, why don't we have people arrested tonight? If there was all this fraud and you have the evidence, you should be rounding people up and you should be marching them off to jail. And then they should be getting a preliminary hearing and then a bail hearing and then maybe released on bail while trial is pending. But no, we don't have any arrests. And this, if it is what Trump says it is the most serious of things that would ever face any kind of democratic country. And it would be highly illegal, and heads would roll and people would go to jail. It would be scandalous. It could destroy the Democrat Party. It could destroy others as well. I mean, it would destroy countless lives. It could, if left to fester, it could destroy the country. If, on the other hand, it isn't as serious, if he doesn't really have the proof, that would explain why we get this kind of answer from Caroline Leavitt.
Speech tonight. He's been in office over 540 days now. If what he says is tonight is backed up by evidence, why hasn't anyone been charged?
Well, he hasn't revealed it yet. He hasn't declassified the documents yet, and you will see what he says tonight.
Not true. Those documents were declassified before the speech, in many cases days and weeks before, because they're all dated. And as soon as he came into possession of them, and they have been in possession of the CIA, the FBI, other government agencies, they've never taken action on any of it. If they are charged with enforcing laws, and they have these documents, which they're now making available to the President of the United States, you would think that they would take action and charge them, because it's not supposed to be something that is political. It's supposed to be a matter of law. And they have not taken any action. They have not arrested anyone on any of this stuff. But these documents compiled, I think, by Trump's political support team, and then compiled into these document dumps, and it's highly political. It's entirely political. It's not just a matter of law. That's why you're not getting arrests, because there's a huge leap to be made from China is trying to influence elections through social media activity and information warfare and propaganda, and actually like controlling election polls and manipulating the ballots and affecting, like, changing outcomes of elections. There's nothing in there that shows that actually happened, that no action on that level has happened. And it's fair to say that there's this kind of influence that's going on, but not that kind of like direct action to rig the machines or fabricate the ballots. And where are they? And there's no doubt that there would be some anomalies and problems, and I would absolutely acknowledge that. But to take it to the level where this would have, cost him the election, that's a different matter. That's got to be on a certain scale, and you need the proof, and he doesn't have it in these documents, in my humble opinion, and I'm not alone.
He hasn't declassified the documents yet, and you will see what he says tonight, and then we'll move forward appropriately from there.
Tonight from the Justice Department?
I don't speak on behalf of the Justice Department, Caitlin, you know that. Rachel.
By evidence, will there be charges?
You'll have to ask the Justice Department. I don't charge people. I just speak on behalf of the president.
Don't count on it. At least not right away. But they're threatening. They are threatening people. As I said at the beginning of the program, threatening people in all 50 states tonight. In fact, it was done this morning. You've got Mark Wayne Mullen Secretary of DHS, threatening federal investigations into voters and state election officials. He's threatening them with fines, penalties, and even prison time if these states don't participate in the optional federal SAVE program. Now that's I guess it's not quite in alignment with the U.S. Constitution. It's controversial. Really what it is it's Trump and his administration trying to introduce new legislation that would put the thumb on the scale in favor of MAGA when people go to the polls. And that's really I think that's really what's going on here. He's talking about accusations of rigging, and he wants to get this SAVE Act passed. And he wants to get a lot of this stuff done before the midterms and certainly before the next presidential election. And I think he's going to have a hard time getting there. Mark Wayne Mullen, news conference earlier today, follow up on Trump's weird speech last night that it really took us nowhere. I mean, he started off just all the wins that he says he's had, but really he never addressed the core issues for the voters, even in that, that opening segment where he's like talking about different political things like immigration and so on. But no, he's not addressing the core issues for voters, the economy, jobs, inflation, those kinds of things. But Mark Wayne Mullen backing up Trump, they've got something planned. You can see it. This isn't about the law. This isn't about election integrity. This is, I think, quite the opposite. This is using the enforcement tools available to government in a political way.
President Trump is correct when he said that election security is national security. And one of the greatest privileges I have is being Secretary of the Department of Homeland, and part of that is that we secure our elections. It surprised me when we first started getting in and digging into the elections, and this isn't about rehashing the 2020 election. This is just exposing what took place and to make sure it never happens again. And there's some really easy steps that can be taken to secure our elections. And it shouldn't be a partisan issue. This should be something that every American, regardless if you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you're an independent, you're a libertarian, regardless if you live in a blue state or you live in a red state, everybody should know that their vote counts. And we have individuals that are voting that shouldn't be. It cancels out someone that should be. So I want to go through some things in a little bit more depth than what we were able to expose last night, because President Trump, he hit the highlights, and those should be scary for everybody. What we're going to do is dig in just a little bit deeper, and then we'll take some of your questions. So first of all, Department of Homeland Security, we've identified 250,000 non-citizens registered to vote in just 4 states. We have 46 other states, and just 4 states we've identified 250,000 non-citizens registered to vote in California and Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Nevada. We also worked with proactive states to identify 28,000 non-citizens on their voter rolls, plus 400,000 individuals that are still registered to vote that are deceased. Now, these 23 states, they proactively worked with us on the SAVE program. That's Georgia, Ohio, Tennessee, Texas, North Carolina, Idaho, Alabama, Missouri, Louisiana, Kansas, Arkansas, Wyoming, Montana, Iowa, Florida, South Dakota, Indiana, Arizona, South Carolina, Utah, Nebraska, Michigan, and my great home state of Oklahoma. What's interesting to me is we're getting pushback from activist judges that are saying that, hold on, the SAVE Act or the SAVE program, they are trying to put a stop to. Currently, because of the SAVE program, we have a pending appeal because activist judges are saying what? They don't want to secure our elections? Once again, how is this a partisan issue? This shouldn't be a partisan issue. This should be that any judge and any God-fearing individual that loves this country should want to make sure that our elections are secure. And we have created inside DHS the SAVE program that allows states to proactively look at their roles. And so when you have 278,000 individuals that are non-citizens registered to vote, plus 400,000 that have already been identified just in 23 states, what can we find? We have all 50 participating with us. We know, talking about our machines, we know for sure that our foreign adversaries, not our allies, foreign adversaries have parts that are vital pieces in our voting machines. We know that they can access what they consider the key to the back of these machines. We know that they can change voter registration and your vote. We know it's possible. There's not a question. It's not even for debate. One thing that I love about numbers and I love about facts is they don't lie.
Except, look, what did he just say? They could. It's possible. He didn't say they did. And Trump stood up there last night and is trying to tell us that the elections were stolen, rigged, and blah, blah, blah. Show me the proof. Those numbers, they're putting a bunch of stats out there. And even with all those numbers, he still can't stand there and say, this happened here. Here are the fraudulent votes that were cast. Here's this or here's that. It's possible, he says, because they've got foreign adversaries have parts in the voting machines. And so they can get into the machines from the back end or whatever he's saying. It's possible. That's not even open for debate. I guess it's possible, maybe, but is it? Then prove that it was done. There's a big difference between they could have maybe done that and they did. No, I'm not buying it. Not just based on what they're releasing at this point. You got to show me the proof. You have to show me the actual evidence, and it is not there. That's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is to just flood the zone with information to sow seeds of doubt, undermine trust, and cause division, cause chaos, cause problems. To what end in the end, I don't know. But they've certainly got something planned. But I'll tell you this, when I see this kind of stuff, it really makes me, I get worried. Because these are not the actions of a government in charge at the moment that say to me that they're really interested in democracy. This says to me that we have some crazy, psychotic, lunatic, power-hungry madman in the White House surrounded by other power-hungry, lunatic, crazy people who are hell-bent on holding on to power. talking about election integrity and cheating and rigging when that's exactly what they're doing. They're just trying to rig it in their own way while they're in office so that they can get as much of the heavy lifting done in that regard, using some sort of semi-legal or pseudo-legal or just the executive power of the presidency to get what they want done. Keep your eyes on this, man, because this is not the important part. This speech today and the one last night, the important stuff is going to be what's going on from this point on, and whether Trump and his administration are able to use all of this as momentum toward just rigging things in their own way. And I have no doubt that the Democrats do their best too, to rig things the other way. But how far has it gone, and has it really undermined election integrity? It just comes down to, as I say, show me the proof, and it ain't there. It's just not there. Not in this. Maybe in these upcoming document dumps, there will be more. But as it stands here tonight, I'm still not convinced. I'm skeptical of it all. That's my job. I'm not going to say, yeah, I'm behind Trump. This is a loyalty test for a lot of these people who follow Trump. It's a loyalty test for them. You have to repeat the talking points to prove your loyalty, even when there is no absolute proof. It's not about proof. It's a matter of faith and loyalty and mind control. Oh, yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah 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 blah
Blah, blah, blah.
blah 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 blah.
Maverick News. No blah, blah, blah.
Pat King, Freedom Convoy protester. Looks like he's going to jail. Ontario Court of Appeal has found King guilty of intimidation. They've ordered a new sentencing hearing. He was charged with quite a number of offenses for his role in the Freedom Convoy. We all know what that was about around here. And back in November, he was convicted of 5 counts, including mischief, counseling mischief, and disobeying a court order. He was given a 12-month conditional sentence. That included 9 months of time served and 3 months house arrest with a year of probation. But at that same trial, King was acquitted on 3 counts of intimidation. So the Crown appealed that. And today, after arguing that King had been given an unusually lenient sentence in the original trial, the appeal court found that the trial judge erred in law by finding that King's participation in the Freedom Convoy was part of a lawful protest. So 3 judges were on a panel, and they have overturned that ruling, saying in a statement released today that they say, put simply, criminal conduct is not less criminal because it occurs during a lawful protest. So this charge of intimidation is going to be, well, it has been applied now, and he's been found guilty of that. And so there is going to be a new sentencing hearing for that. And what does that mean? It's speculative at this point. One of the trial judges says that it was not a peaceful protest that unfortunately grew out of control. These are the judge's words, and was allowed to go on and morphed into criminal activity, as the trial judge suggested in his sentencing reasons. That's what was written in today's decision. He goes on and says, rather, this was from the outset a coordinated, targeted attack on Ottawa residents aimed at coercing change through highly disruptive criminal conduct. So this is going to be a controversial thing, obviously. It's interesting that Pat King has not received support from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom and the lawyers that are being portrayed by many as heroes of the convoy, of the freedom movement. I would say a lot of these lawyers are separatists, and the funds that were collected that have been used to some degree by some people, like who, not Pat King and some of the others, and a lot of the other truckers never received any of the support that they were supposed to receive, because the money's controlled by a certain group of people. And I know that is a real sore point for a lot of folks who are involved in that protest. And it looks like King could be going to jail, like literally for years, and not like just the local jail. Like he could be going to a penitentiary. Let's bring it up and run the clip we have of him tonight.
It appears that, ladies and gentlemen, I will be going for penitentiary time. Could be 2 years plus a day, or it could be 5 years. So, as everybody knows, this is a absolute horrible finding. It appears that, ladies and gentlemen, I will be going for penitentiary.
I don't know. This is such an unusual case. I wouldn't predict what the sentence might end up being. Wouldn't predict. I seriously doubt they'll put him away for 5 years. And even if he does go to jail, he'll get out earlier than the the allotted time. Mark my words. But that's the way the Canadian justice system is anyway. A lot of people think that it's too lenient. In this case, you're going to have the people who are saying it's too lenient, saying that it's too harsh and corrupt. So they'll want it both ways, right? What else do we have on tonight? Here's a clip of Mark Wayne Mullen that we didn't get to that I think might further illustrate the point that I'm making, that this is very much a political thing.
I will tell you, if the states that choose not to participate with the state program and they choose not to participate in securing the elections, we will make sure that we make those states a priority to look at who voted in their states and hold then the election officials accountable. If the election officials, once we gave them the information they need to secure their elections, and they chose not to, then those individuals can also be held accountable by fines, by penalties, and even, depending on how far it goes, prison time. I will tell you.
See? You're going to do it Trump's way, or you'll never get on a highway, except you're just going to go, not pass go straight to prison, or get fined out the wazoo. That's a threat. And this is, in my view, it's very, very political. Just saying. Okay, what else do we have? We're coming up on top of the hour here. And the thing is, I think Trump is missing the mark here. I think the people around him, in terms of political strategy, I don't think I don't think this is resonating with people the way that it was at one time. I don't think election fraud is one of the top election issues. I think as you look at the polling, and when they're asking people what are their main concerns, it comes down to kitchen table issues. It is inflation, it's jobs, it's the economy. Those are the things that people are most concerned about right now, because Trump's economic policies really honestly are resulting in inflation. And that's costing people at the grocery store, and it's a lot of pain at the pumps when they're going to gas up their cars and their big pickup trucks, which, Trump wants everybody out there driving around. And a lot of Americans want to buy those things, but it costs a hell of a lot of money to fill those up. That's where the pain is. And that's, I think, one of the main reasons they're going to get their butts kicked in the midterms, because he's running around talking about this election stuff. And I think people are just tired of hearing about it. It's in the past, man, and you can't change the past. Of course, you want to make sure that the elections are secure moving forward. And a lot of those things, yeah, I'm totally okay with, making sure that this is secure, that's secure, and that only eligible voters are eligible to vote, and that there are proper people around the voter rolls and this and that. But, when they're citing these numbers, like so many deceased people on the voters rolls and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff is a misdirection, because just like when Elon Musk went in and was dealing with, who is on like basically the welfare rules, right? To get government assistance checks, they were finding a lot of deceased people in the database as well, like a lot. But the reality is they weren't for the most part, they weren't receiving checks. Nothing was going out. They were just dead people who were still listed. So again, there's a difference between having names in the system that are not valid or out of date, just maybe because they haven't been purged, and saying that those same people, those same names were actually involved in something fraudulent. We know that sometimes that kind of thing has happened, no question about it. But on the scale necessary to tip the scales, no. So as I say, Maverick Midnight Matinee coming up, and I just received a message from Ian, and no, Ian, not tonight. We're not going to do it tonight. What we were talking about yesterday I want to make sure you've got time to prepare for it. I want to make sure I have time to prepare for it. So we're not going to rush it. So we don't have to do that tonight. That's going to be another thing, and we'll do that another night in the days ahead. So Ian and I have something in particular that we've been working on that I'm not going to tell you about. That's going to be a surprise too. Okay, do you want to guess? Do you want to guess what tonight's movie is going to be? Okay, first clue. It's not a movie that is. It's not a science fiction movie, and we run a lot of those, so you can just take all those things out. That's your first clue. I'll have more clues as we progress through the broadcast tonight. I'm going to make them up as I go along. Yeah. What's going on in the Middle East? Well, over the past 24 hours, we've had reports that the Strait of Hormuz is still volatile, of course, with Iran's Revolutionary Guard still apparently in control. I guess they've seized several tankers attempting unauthorized passage, according to them, and claims of explosions involving 2 oil tankers after they reportedly hit mines, and traffic through the strait is still disrupted. Global energy supplies is still fragile, like the ceasefire. There wasn't a ceasefire that is not in existence at all anymore. So all this comes amid this ongoing cycle of strikes between the U.S. and Iran that flared again over the past, well, especially the past week. We had 5 straight nights of strikes, and then last night I spoke too soon because I said there were didn't appear there was really any significant confrontation, no strikes from the U.S. last night, entering night 6. And then after the broadcast, indeed, there were some strikes. So it was 6 straight nights. So far, over 170 targets in the first wave, and then around the same number, escalating each night ever since. I'm not sure how many last night. I don't think last night's air-to-air assaults were as significant or as widespread as we've seen in the previous week. Well, night 6 of the previous 5 nights. Iran is reporting that there have been civilian casualties, at least 14 killed, dozens injured, and they've launched retaliatory drone and missile attacks on U.S.-linked sites in neighboring countries like Kuwait and Bahrain. So the media keeps calling the Memorandum of Understanding fragile, and it's not worth the paper it's written on, obviously, because we're at this point. It was supposed to enforce that ceasefire, but it was never a ceasefire. And I have to stop repeating myself, but it is just mind-blowing to me that this language is just being adopted and used by the media because they're contributing to the mind screw. And the president has stated that the ceasefire is now over, and yet some people are still referring to it as a ceasefire. And he's blaming, of course, Iran for their actions in the Gulf, but you can look at it in a lot of different ways. And Trump, in his speech last night, says that the United States has the world's most powerful military and that they've been forced to use it. But I'm not so sure that they were forced to use it, because this has clearly been a war of choice. And it hasn't gone the way that he was hoping. It's been a disaster. Iran accusing the U.S. of violations and insists on its control over the waterway. Trump at one point saying he was going to charge a 20% tariff or a toll on all vessels going through the straits of the United States, would then become a toll collector. And then he's backed away from that, and they're going to try and convince other countries in the Gulf to pay the United States for keeping the straits safe. Doesn't seem too safe tonight. No major breakthroughs in negotiations. As of tonight, Israel has signaled readiness to re-engage if needed, while the UN has called for an end to the tit-for-tat violence and a return to diplomacy. That ain't going to happen. And oil prices still up well over $80 a barrel now. I won't show you the website tonight. We've been doing that every night. It's the same old, same old. It's the new normal. In Ukraine, intense fighting continuing along the Eastern Front. Ukraine's general staff reporting nearly 250 combat clashes in the past day alone. I mean, that is a bloody, bloody, deadly war. So many unnecessary deaths, so many people being killed. Russian, Ukrainian soldiers, civilians. Russian forces concentrating their main efforts on Pokrovsk, Slovyansk, and I'll try to pronounce this name correctly tonight again. Konstantinivka. I think that's close. I do apologize. That is the one place doesn't matter how much I practice, I can't seem to get my lips around it or my tongue. In any event, this is in the Donetsk Oblast. Key strategic points. It's been a strategic location of extreme conflict and urban warfare now for many weeks. Ukrainian defenders repelling multiple assaults there, but Russian troops maintaining intense pressure with glide bombs, artillery, small group attacks, urban warfare. It's really bad up there. And Russian strikes killed at least 4 people, wounded dozens more across Ukraine in just the past 24 hours alone. In Kharkiv, 1 civilian died and 8 were injured in an evening attack, and missile and drone barrages also hit Odessa with 2 confirmed dead and the injury toll rising. Air defenses intercepting most threats, but ballistic missiles, an extreme vulnerability. Ukraine has depleted its stockpile of Patriot missiles. Now it's going to take some time for them to ramp up production under license from the United States to bring those back into play, but they've got that happening. It's amazing to me that either side is able to sustain this war in the way that they have. So there's intense pressure on both sides, and it is a war of attrition and stamina. On the Ukrainian side, long-range drone strikes continue to target Russian oil infrastructure, as we've seen, and they're going after that shadow fleet in the Sea of Azov, and beyond that, aiming to disrupt fuel supplies for Moscow's war machine. And they have had significant success on that, with many hits on tankers and refineries in recent days. It is amazing how they've used drone warfare at sea to attack a navy when they have no navy of their own. Russia is reporting daily losses of around 1,300 to 1,400 troops, according to Ukrainian tallies, bringing the total estimated Russian casualties since this full-scale invasion began to over 1.4 million soldiers. 1.4 million people dead on the Russian side alone. And Zelensky and Western leaders pushing for stronger air defenses, including potential overseas production of Patriot systems in Ukraine and maybe in other countries as well. All of this following those recent talks where Trump said, yes, we're going to give you permission to build these things under license. His position on this seems to have changed somewhat in recent weeks. I think as he's seeing that Ukraine does have some cards to play, and that this is not going to end anytime soon, and that Vladimir Putin is not really playing ball because he's not going to give up either. And I think for political reasons, he can't. So we're now into the 5th year of this war. Still no signs of slowing down tonight. It's gross, it's tragic, it's awful. It is honestly disgusting. Politics, ideology. They have this conference going on political terrorism, specifically targeting far left political terrorism. Told you about this coming up. I told you yesterday about it. And today, Scott Bessent got, I guess, upset with the media at this event. I guess he's accusing the media of denying the existence of left-wing terrorism and left-wing political activism, terror groups, as they're now classifying them. And this is a conference, really, I think, again, it's part of a conditioning exercise, as I've been saying. You've got the election integrity issue, the election fraud, rigging. Trump wants you to believe in that. Is it true or not? Who the hell knows? There's no way to know anything anymore. Then they've got the healthcare stuff. They've flipped that totally around the other way. So which side do you believe? And now they've got the government stance on this. And this is also a reframing of the political arguments and the political battle, because you've got Trump MAGA in office now, right-wing political control, and they're targeting left-wing activists, socialists, labeling these political activists as communists and terrorists. Is it justified? You'll have to decide, but media questioning that. And Scott Bessent got a little hot under the collar. Apparently, I haven't seen the clip, but I'm eager to see it now.
But I'm going to remind everyone in this room and all the media that I was the subject of an assassination attempt February 2024 by an adult left-wing activist 2 hours after being sworn into my job. So any of you who want to report that this is a fiction and does not exist, be there for the sentencing this August. So good morning. Thank you, Secretary Rubio, for convening this news. But I'm going to remind everyone.
So there you go. And I guess he didn't stick around. I guess he kind of hightailed it out of there. Now, Rubio, kind of the keynote here in all of this today, and or during this conference anyway. And I took note of what he said. Maybe I'm just so immersed in politics right now that I'm peeling back layers in ways that I never have before. But the rhetoric that I'm hearing here from Rubio in this clip that I'm about to run, it's very much conservative cliches. But in light of all of the activities and the political assaults that Trump has engaged in internationally, geopolitically, since coming back into office for the second time, I'm viewing this in a different way, or through a different lens. What I'm hearing from Rubio here is a very aggressive tone that basically is saying the United States gets to do whatever the hell it wants. International law be damned. And the way that he speaks of communists, I find a little bit disturbing, because while, I think any kind of authoritarian communism is dangerous, and I'm absolutely 1,000,000% opposed to it, or any kind of authoritarian government, period. The way he's framing this, it's like painting a lot of different people and a lot of different groups like socialists with just a communist brush. I'll maybe pause it as I run the clips tonight on this, or run this clip tonight. This from this conference on political terrorism, but it's specifically, make no mistake, this conference is aimed at framing, painting, targeting left-wing political groups, whether they're communists or socialists or liberals, as they deem fit. I think they're just lumping them all together. I'm going to run the clip. I just listen to it very carefully. This concerned me.
This is a distinctive and unique evil. It has always been driven by a hatred, above all else, a hatred for civilization itself. It is a revolt of the worst against the best, a revolt of the weak and the cowardly against the strong and the good. It is perpetrated by those who cannot build, who cannot create, who cannot achieve great things, and take their revenge upon the world for their own inadequacy.
this language, I've heard it before. This he's saying that it's a war between the weak and the strong. The United States, Western society, being the strong, and the weak are evil. So you've got the weak countries are evil. This is strange language. If they're weak, why are you afraid of them? If you're strong, why are you afraid of the weak? Why are they evil if they're weak? And why are you even concerned about them? If you're the strong one, why would you? He's afraid, very afraid. Listen. He's saying they can't achieve anything, so they're trying to destroy those who can achieve things. But it's nonsense. It doesn't make sense. You know what it is? I'm sorry to say this. It sounds very racist. Whoa. Were you seeing that? I don't know if maybe I didn't have the clip up. I'm going to run it again in case you missed it. Maybe I didn't have it up.
And take their revenge upon the world for their own inadequacy by seeking to destroy those who can. This is what radical leftism is. It may wear various different slogans and ideologies across place and time. They can call themselves anti-capitalist or anti-imperialist or communist or anarchist or Marxist, but the fundamental character is always the same. It's always the same. It is a poisonous resentment cloaked in the language of equality and justice and liberation, an overwhelming need to tear down what greater men have built, to wreck what is beautiful and what is right on behalf of people who are only filled with ugliness and have nothing else to offer the world.
Excuse me? So
it's always the same. It is a poisonous resentment cloaked in the language of equality.
Equality. I think they even talk about that in the U.S. Constitution. Equity is something else. Equality, you know, everyone's supposed to be treated equally under the, under the law.
And justice, and liberation.
What's wrong with the justice? You don't want justice? You have a Justice Department. Don't you want rule of law? Don't you want due process? Don't you want people to have rights?
An overwhelming need to tear down what greater men have built.
To tear down what greater men have built. You're a greater man? Why? Because you've got more money? Because you were born? Like I know a lot of really poor people who are pretty talented and survive in the face of extreme adversity. And he's talking about tearing things down. And I know they've got a blockade right now around Cuba, a country that if they'd left them alone, they'd be, functioning okay today. But the country is on the verge of collapse if it hasn't collapsed already. And you're not hearing about it in the media very much right now. But I know this guy is integral in the campaign to invade that country and engage, you drag the United States into some kind of a strange war with Cuba, a country that apparently is very weak, therefore not really much of a threat to the United States. This defies logic. Now, I'm not a communist, but I'm also not in favor of going to war with people just because you're stronger than they are. I'm not in favor of killing people just because you have the ability, the power to do it with immunity, just blow people up, no due process, no rules. Oh. Huh.
To wreck what is beautiful and what is right on behalf of people who are only filled with ugliness.
Wreck what is beautiful. What was that again?
Who are only filled with ugliness and have nothing else to offer. Beautiful and what is right.
What's beautiful and right, and according to whom? And again, why? Why is what you have beautiful? Because you had more money or big corporations to build something. Honestly, what is he talking about here, really? What's beautiful and right? We're talking about human beings.
On behalf of people who are only filled with ugliness and have nothing else to offer the world.
Only filled with ugliness and have nothing else to offer people. You can't see any good. This is extreme talk. There's no gray area here, no nuance, no some good, some bad, no room for negotiation. This is dismissing a lot of people in a lot of parts of the world as evil. He's talking about people. Are you really listening to what he's saying? This isn't just capitalism good, socialism bad. This isn't just, this has got nothing to do with free markets. In fact, this is the opposite. This is the opposite of freedom. This is about we're strong. We have all the money. We hold all the cards. We have the biggest economy. We have the most powerful military. But we want to keep it for ourselves. We don't want to share it with anybody. We're going to go around the world. We're going to take what we want. And we're going to dominate because we're great men and we build things. You, because of whoever you are, or wherever you came from, you're evil. And you are not able to build anything. What kind of talk is that? Human beings are full of incredible potential. And even in the face of adversity, we can achieve amazing freaking things if you're given half a chance. But if you're oppressed, if you're held down, if people come in and steal your stuff, that's something else again. I look at the history of the United States, this entire country, the U.S., manifest destiny, right? We get to the concept of free expansion. Yeah, and freedom. Freedom for whom? Texas, the creation of Texas, when it became an independent country for a short time, and then later part of the United States. What was Texas? Why was it even created? Because you had Texians moving into the area who, and maybe you don't know the history, settlers from the U.S. moving into the area with the blessing of the Mexican government at the time, come on in because they wanted to have something of a defense against the indigenous populations there as they were settling the land. And when I say the Mexican government, I mean that this is the result of Spanish conquest and expansionism and colonialism over time. But they were like, yeah, come on in. And you have these English-speaking European settlers, Americans, Texians coming in. And this is where the whole story of the Alamo and everything comes into play. But what were the issues? They didn't want to pay their taxes, and they wanted to keep slaves. So they went to war over those issues, essentially. And that's why Texas was even created, because they wanted to have slaves and they didn't want to pay their damn taxes. Kind of the same issues, more about the taxation side with the United States, the creation of the whole U.S. country. We don't want to pay our taxes. Screw you, King. We're going to dump the tea in the harbor. And it's a lie, because after all that was done, are you paying taxes today? And in fact, after all of that went down, and after 1776, Americans ended up paying more in taxes. Oh, it was, of course, they have their representation, right? But represented by whom? Now you have a bunch of oligarchs sitting around a table with the president and pulling strings and treating him like a puppet, I guess, and vice versa. And then Rubio sitting here still talking in these same kinds of terms and languages all these years later, regurgitating this stuff. And I'm thinking back to not very long ago, pre-Trump, Rubio becoming Secretary of State and wearing all these other hats. It's like his tone has changed. I guess maybe he's always been this way and I just wasn't hearing him clearly. But when I'm listening to this is targeting left-wing political activists, and more directly, this is a Trump administration, a far-right, authoritarian, and even I would say fascistic government that has exerted some sort of a strange political coup of some kind, I think, is what it resembles to me at this point, where they're trying to purge political opposition through using a variety of means, whether it's this SAVE Act and these allegations of ongoing allegations, regurgitated accusations of voter or election fraud and rigging. And now this conference here really designed to, this is about targeting political opponents. That's what they've been doing since they came back into office. And it's really with a new group of people around Trump who are far more extreme than what we had in Trump 1.0. This is a plan to go after political opponents, label them as domestic terrorists even, which I guess to some degree the other side did to them, because you've got too much extremism all the way around and everybody wants to throw everybody else in jail now. This is not a properly functioning democracy at all. And then some people want to join this. Trump saying yesterday that the election system is worse than what they have in a third world country. He ought to know. He's the one trying to rig it right now. Rubio's kind of helping him here in an inadvertent way, but maybe not directly on rigging the elections, but they're trying to rig the legal system in order to frame their political opponents as terrorists. Is that maybe what's going on up here in Canada with Pat King? Maybe, but I'll tell you this, the Canadian government, a hell of a lot more lenient with separatists and people trying to undermine the country, break it up, split it up, destroy Canada, and even with these big political protests. Pat King's been going through the court system for years, and you could say, well, they're using that as lawfare against him. But no, I think it's an actual bona fide process. And I think what you're going to find is when he actually goes for sentencing, they'll be fairly lenient on him compared to what you were going to be getting in the United States, where they've just thrown due process right out the window, and they're taking people right off the streets, and you're not hearing about it very much anymore because they're kind of hiding it or pushing it to the back burner because it isn't popular. People don't want to see what's really going on. They just don't want to think about about it happening, even though they voted for it and they're supporting it. A lot of people, they don't really want to see it because it's just a little too unpalatable, a little too hard to digest. It's making them feel a little uncomfortable. I don't want to think about it. Just get rid of those people. And they throw them into prisons down in El Salvador. In some cases, potentially for life. There's something very dark and sinister and evil about this government. What he's talking about here, and I get it, okay? Like I get that socialism can have a dark underbelly and a negative side for sure when it goes too far, but a little bit is not communism. Controlled socialism and not communism. And in fact, his whole government, this whole Trump administration is to some degree about socialism. Not to some degree. It is socialism. It's a national socialism. Did I say that? Yes, I did. Where have we heard that? It's National Socialism, and it's a controlled economy. There's nothing free market about this Trump economy. There's nothing free market about heavy duty tariffs like this. I mean, some tariffs targeted, I can kind of get it. They're using them strategically to achieve a particular, maybe national security objective or some other goal that isn't just purely economic. There may be other elements or reasons to use tariffs. But for this to be going on, massive worldwide tariff war targeting Canada, targeting Mexico. Today, the foreign affairs minister from Mexico visiting Anita Anand, and our two countries, Mexico, Canada, look like we're getting along pretty well, being very respectful, carving out some new agreements on trade right there. But Trump going after both countries, dividing us all, trying to deal with this individually instead of as, a trading bloc, so that we all kind of coordinate and collaborate and try to do things through collaboration that would be mutually beneficial between all the countries. And even tonight, I know that the Trump administration is going after Mexico for the same thing they're going after Canada for, which is these electric Chinese vehicles, which is just a big pile of caca on like all the reasons they're spinning up to oppose these cars from coming into the economy. You know why? It's because they can't compete. So they're trying to put in place tariff and non-tariff barriers against Chinese electric vehicles because they're coming into the marketplace. And if they come in en masse, if they just opened the market to the Chinese vehicles, you and I would be paying probably half the price for a new vehicle. And the Trump administration can't have it. The auto industry in North America can't have it because it costs so much money to produce here because of tariffs, because of high taxes, because of the military industrial complex that, keeps picking money out of your pocket. And that all has to be sustained. They've got a $30 trillion debt now on the US side alone. I'm concerned about what is ultimately going to happen to Canada. I mean, it can be actually a good thing for your economy if you're producing weapons and selling them to other countries. But I don't like the idea of supporting your economy by producing a product that has only really one singular purpose. It's okay, I suppose, if you use it for defensive purposes, but if you go around just killing people or using it to take things from people, which is called stealing, I'm not cool with that. And I don't want my country to become that. And the problem with great power, the acquisition of great power, the production of great power, is that at some point somebody comes along and sometimes they actually want to use it. Use it out of necessity because somebody's attacking you, fine. But to say, look at this, look at all these ships and aircraft carriers, and look at these fancy 5th generation fighter jets, and look at all these missiles we have. What could we do with that? I know, manifest destiny. We'll call it the new Dunroe Doctrine, and we'll go surround this country and we'll put pressure on them and we'll destroy their economy, and then the people will rise up and overthrow the government, and then we'll take it over. We'll go down to this country and kidnap their president, and then we'll take their oil. Rah! Free expansion. Yeah, free. Exactly. That's been the mindset at times in U.S. history that has just gone too damn far. It's free, all right, when you take it. And when you have a massive military, and this is what happened in World War II, this is why largely Germany went to war. It's because they rejuvenated, they resuscitated their economy after the Versailles Treaty and the sanctions and the reparations that were demanded of the country after World War I. They were impoverished, and so they came up with a scheme through MIFO bills to bring their economy back online, put people back to work, and Hitler built up the economy, but he did it all mostly, the majority of it was through the production of arms. At a certain point, they had to pay people back. And then what did he do? He had to go to war because he had to pay it back. And what are you going to do with all your guns? You can't plow a field. You don't plant wheat with a tank. What you can do is cross a border into another country and take their wheat and take their manufacturing and take whatever they've produced and take their resources, take their oil. If you can't see that this is going on, then you're just freaking blind or you are indoctrinated. And so when Trump is screaming about putting tariffs on Canada because of the forest fires and the smoke drifting across the border, I have to wonder, how did these fires actually start and why did they start? And I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist, but you start, I can't prove anything. I don't know. I'm just speculating. And that's honest. That's just me being honest. But regardless of how they started, I can see that there are political reasons why he might be saying that. And I've already told you what those are. To further destabilize, put more pressure on Canada. He's going to hold Canada accountable. Yeah, Canada's going to have to pay a price for that. Ooh, what kind of price are we going to have to pay, Donnie? A bigger price than we've paid on the Gordie Howe Bridge and a bigger price than we've paid on all the tariffs that you've imposed so far? How many more tariffs can you impose on us? Do you really mean it this time? Is it an on-again, off-again thing? Yeah, it's like anything. Well, they've got massive flooding going on right now down in Texas, and I can turn around and say the exact same thing. They didn't maintain their drainage properly. They didn't properly prepare. They're not treating their people properly. Maybe we have to go down there and invade them because, they're abusing their people and they haven't taken care of their people properly. And look what happened out in California. And yeah, you're blaming the governor there, Gavin Newsom. But no, I think maybe it's more than that. Maybe there's something else going on there. Maybe we need to intervene to save the people of the United States from the crazy things going on down there. Of course, we're not going to do that. And I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just saying you can take these arguments and flip them upside down and use them back the other way too. But we don't do that. One, because we don't have nuclear weapons and we don't want to be invaded. So we watch what we say. I'm rambling, but not. A lot of truth in there. Maybe saying too much, because I know a lot of you don't want to hear that. Yeah, I don't think you're hearing it quite this way anyplace else, are you? Not really. Tough pill for me to swallow too. I love the United States. I love the country. But there's more than one America, because you have different political groups. And even within MAGA and the populist movement down there, you've got different elements. And right now you have a pretty extreme arm of MAGA that is in control. And they're on the march. They want it all. They're not joking. Still have at least a couple of years of this. See what happens in the midterms. See if he maintains his power or if he gets neutered. If he gets a shellacking in the midterms, if they end up with a more resilient opposition after, then a lot of this might be stopped. But I wouldn't count on it. It's worrisome because the thing that worries me the most is the potential for real conflict and potentially war and death, and I don't want to see any of that. But it's right there on our doorstep. All this rhetoric, all this talk of this political group is a terrorist group and that's a terrorist group. And then you see what's going on in the Canadian courts and these court cases and the separatism. It's all connected. You see the U.S. influence up here. And yeah, the Chinese, the Russians, every country's involved, but you see it very directly, don't you? Yeah, you do. especially if you've been sitting here with me every night. Damn right. People say, wake up. Well, there's what you need to wake up to. That's the reality. That's the thing that's the quiet part you really can't say out loud, because if you do, it'll spark a real reaction from the other side of the border. You're not allowed to say it. We can't say it. The politicians can't say it. It's spoken, but just not in straight up plain language, not straight up. You see it happening in the courts. You see it happening with the sentences being handed down and the appeals. Why is this guy going to jail? Why is that guy going to jail? Oh, it's mischief. Is it just mischief, or is it something more? What are these people talking about? Separatism, Canada's not a real country. Yes, it is. Canada's more of a real country than the United States by far. By far. The United States is something that some people made up because they didn't want to pay taxes. So it's this hybrid republic. They say they don't want a king, but what do you have in the White House right now? A guy who rules like a king with a Sharpie. He's not accountable to anybody. Practically, he's supposed to be, but he isn't. The checks and balances have never really worked. They want an exemption from everything on the international stage, geopolitically. Veto power at the UN. They're not held accountable by the ICC, the International Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice. They just do what they want. How many U.S. presidents are wanted for war crimes? Is that justified? I don't know. I know that it's a very difficult thing, right? Presidents have immunity. They literally can stand in the middle of the street and shoot somebody and get away with it because they're exempt. When Nixon said it's not illegal when the president does it, he meant it, and to some degree it's true. More true now than it was then. Just depends on who you kill and where you kill them. Don't get me wrong, man. I do love the United States, and there is, because there are people, there have been presidents who take the rule of law seriously. They take people's rights seriously. They do defend people's rights. They do try to live up to the ideal, to the promise of America. Not this guy. Unless your ideal is profit, pure capitalism, which I do not support. I'm a conservative. I'm not a pure capitalist because I see, like, you have to understand what capitalism really is. I'm a free market capitalist. Yes. I'm a free market guy. I'm about freedom. Am I a pure capitalist? No, because a pure capitalism it really does result in a form of slavery. Because you have people who have all the capital, the money, when you define it in that manner, who then get to control everything and produce nothing. There can be services, and banking can be a service, and you can provide through that. But when it gets grotesquely out of control, and when it becomes something that is controlled capitalism, fascistic capitalism, or even communistic capitalism, whatever form of it that you want to overlay onto it, if it's controlled and it's not free market, then it's not fair. And if it's not fair, and if it's not open to people, to everybody, then we've got a damn problem. Then it is truly rigged. And that is exactly what Trump has been doing. It isn't just about the elections, man. This guy's trying to rig everything, especially the economy and the rules, the SEC rules, the rules on cryptocurrency. He doesn't want any. That's the point. So he's made sure there aren't any. That's the point. That's how he's made $1.5 billion on cryptocurrency alone. with a pump and dump scheme repeatedly at the expense of people who can't afford it. And yet people still support him because they don't understand how it works. They don't understand the economics. They don't understand the fiscal side. They don't understand the scam. And they've compromised, I think, even Bitcoin at this point by... Am I just going off on so many different roads now, down this crossroad, down that side road, over the hill, and it's terrible what's going on. It is terrible. It's like beyond anything we've ever seen before. And we have at least 2 years of this left, unless he croaks from a McDonald's heart attack or something. It could happen. I don't know. But then maybe, just like, maybe he'll get his testosterone screening, and they'll get him jacked back up again. and he'll get all buffed out, and he'll start lifting weights and going to the gym, and the next thing you know, him and PDT will be leading the troops over the hill to take over the next country. Maybe he could just do it single-handedly. He'll just get all jacked up on his tea, and they'll have a Boston Tea Party. Oh, man, it's so stupid. But the ladies will love him, right? Speaking of ladies, here's another clue. It's a romance. Tonight's movie, Maverick Midnight Matinee, which we're going to run here in a few minutes. I'm sorry, I've just kind of gone off on, like, I just started to talk. Tricity Lynn, who eats wieners? What I'm just, that's pro-immune, I think, asking Tricity Lynn in the chat, who eats wieners? People have no idea what you need to put in your diet. I don't know what you guys are even talking about. In your neck of the woods, so no one is paying higher prices right now. So I don't know. I can't follow the chat. Do not, Tricity Lynn, do not drink when RW says Trump. A few conspiracy theories in there, and little mental health issue there. Tricity Lynn, the chemicals in the smoke aren't from Mother Nature. Step outside and take a deep breath. Yes, they are. Yeah, it's the wood. And when wood burns, it does create toxins. Here's something for you to consider. Everything is natural, even synthetic things, because everything that is already present in the world and the universe. We haven't created anything. We've just combined stuff to create new creations. Just a thought. Anyway, any guesses on the movie so far? Food prices and groceries. Hot dogs. Linda says wieners, hot dogs, yeah. You have to buy the good quality hot dogs. If you don't, you'll get sick. If you buy my experience is, if I eat like the no-name cheapo hot dogs, I feel like I'm sick as a dog. They make me sick. I don't eat them. I stay far away from them. But if you buy the the higher quality ones, like the Maple Leaf Top Dogs, I'm a hot dog connoisseur. You get away with that, but I don't think any of them are very good for you, especially if you have high blood pressure. I'm sure that they're not good for you because they're loaded with sodium. Maureen, I don't eat hot dogs. Yeah, it's probably wise. I rarely ever would eat hot dogs anymore either. And Canadians now highest consumer of bacon because they can't afford bacon. Are you kidding me? Bacon is super expensive. Bacon is very expensive. $7 a package now. Depends on where you buy it. I see it for, it goes on sale at the Food Basics over here. Bacon, I've seen it for like $5. Yeah. I'll tell you what, let's go shopping right now. Let's go Superstore flyer. Here's the weekly flyer, the Real Canadian Superstore. Let's find out what the prices really are on the Canuckistanian side tonight. Here we go. Flyers and deals. This is not an ad. I am not getting paid to bring you the Superstore flyer ads. So here you go. Flyer deals. Just in. Spaghetti, $1.97. Penne. Chewy chocolate chip granola bars, $2.50. $1.49 a pound for tomatoes on sale, half price. So there's that. Peanut butter, $4.50 for the no-name brand. Haven't eaten peanut butter in a long time either. You guys into peanut butter? I used to be when I was a kid, not so much anymore. Sometimes I just don't anymore. Maybe I should. Is that good for you? It's so sticky. How do you even digest it? I wonder. So cucumbers, $2.75, 54% off. That's pretty good. Blueberries, they're good for you, $2. Lean ground beef, $5.44. It's grass-fed too. That's supposed to be better for you. And $5.99 a pound for lamb shoulder chops. Pork tenderloin on sale, 50% off. If you buy the stuff on sale, you certainly save a lot. What else do we have here? Fresh Atlantic salmon fillets, $10 a pound. It's always been expensive. Cereal is a crazy price, man. Sometimes when I look at the cereal, you have to buy that stuff on sale now, because if you don't, you have to mortgage your damn house. Not that Lucky Charms should even qualify as a cereal. It's just sugar. It's marshmallows. Do you feed your kids that? I can't even eat that stuff, man. I've never been able to eat that stuff. That is, it's gross. I haven't had that. I tried it when I was a kid a couple of times. I'm like, no, I can't eat this. $8.99 for the Highliner Signature haddock. I like haddock fish. It's good. I find that it is. I find it's kind of a mild fish. So it's actually my favorite. I do eat a lot of fish if I can afford it, but it's becoming more expensive too. It's gone up. What the packages of the frozen haddock, I don't know what the weight is on it, but I've noticed it's gone up from about $12 to like $15.99 over the past year and a half or so. So halibut is also really good if it's cooked properly. That's really premium fish. Patio accessories. Oh, for a balanced diet, that's what you need. Reese's Hershey's. Butter cups. That's what they call them, right? I don't eat those things. That's got peanut butter covered in chocolate. Is that good for you? Is it cheaper to buy a bunch of Reese's peanut butter cups or to buy a jar of peanut butter? I suspect buy the bar of peanut butter. There's crackers, shrimp skewers. Poor little shrimp. Canned stuff full of sodium, which is really good. not for you. Chicken noodle soup, which I like, and all the no-name stuff. There's the original hot dogs. I'm warning you, don't eat the no-name babies because, yeah, I know, bad idea. Now there you're talking about the beef burgers. That's $20, and I think those things have gone up in price, especially over the last 2 years, by at least I would say $5 a box. Just in passing observation at the grocery stores and looking at these flyers from time to time, it's awful. Yeah, prices are definitely up. Corn syrup. Yeah, that's just pure sugar made from corn. Corn syrup, corn this, high fructose corn syrup in your soda. Both wash $4. How are you guys finding the prices in the flyer? Is it a crime? Some of it is. If you're buying stuff at regular price, yeah, it's a tough row to hoe, that's for sure. Potatoes, russet potatoes, $5. They put them on sale here regularly. You can get them for like $2, $2.50 for like a 10-pound bag of potatoes. Not all the time, but sometimes $2.50. No-name naturally imperfect apples, which would be just fine. They look a little odd. They're like little misfits, and they'd be perfect for a maverick like myself. I like imperfect apples are fine. There's also a service out there where they sell imperfect food, and you can subscribe to it apparently, and they'll deliver it right to your door, and you can save a bundle of money. I'm not sure what the service is called, the name of it, but I've been hearing about it. Some people are saving quite a bit of money that way. Delivered to your door. It's just that it's like, well, it would be like these beans, but they're bent beans or something. They're maybe they grow them in a nuclear power plant, and the radiation just you get a deformed beans at a discount price. Oranges, $4. So where's the beef? Pork shoulder blade sticks got to be in here somewhere. What is the price of beef? Impossible ground beef. Why is it impossible? It's plant-based. That's why. Because it's not possible that it would actually be real meat. It's fake. Save $3.99. They have to put that stuff on sale or no one would buy it, except the insane people. Do any of you eat that stuff? I don't eat it. Schneider's Red Hots original hot dogs are Maple Leaf Natural top dogs. Those are the ones that if I eat those, I don't feel awful, but I'm certain they're not good for you. As has been said to me, don't ever eat anything with the name dog in it. And anytime I talk about that stuff, Cosmo gets nervous. Wild sockeye salmon burgers. $14. Do you think they really put salmon in those burgers? The president's choice. Well, how you find I'm going to look in the chat. What are you thinking of the prices? Yeah, nothing wrong with imperfect vegetables at all. That's right. Got to go back to the flyer. What else do we have going on? We're shopping. The supermarket. It's super. $8 for cookies. I don't buy them. See, sometimes my wife, she buys them because I'm pretty sure she wants the insurance money. She knows if she buys them, I will eat them. And if I eat them, I'll probably die. And then it's pay all the time. It's a female conspiracy. Yeah, it's probably getting tired of me by now. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll feed them a lot of cookies. and then he'll croak and I'll cash in. Probably more truth to that than you know. And a lot of guys, let that be a warning to all of you out there. What else we have here? Zabia halal breakfast chicken strips. That's fake bacon made with chicken. They're fooling you into thinking that, see, chicken is not poultry. It's pork. No, I'm pretty sure that my chicken is a pig and a turkey is a cow and the salmon is a cow because it's a burger now. In-store take and bake pizza, $12. If you order a pizza now, man, I haven't done that in so long because it's just way too expensive. What do you find? Like, unless you go into what I don't eat out at all anymore. It's just too much money. But if you go to Little Caesars or someplace like that, I guess you can get stuff reasonable. But I can't. I just, maybe I'm too old. But just like cheap hot dogs, if I eat some of that like chain pizza place stuff like Domino's and Little Caesars, it's just not good for you. It doesn't make you feel good. It does not especially when you get older. You got to take care of yourself, you know. If you want to make it past, 40 like me. That's okay. 70 is the new 30. I'm not 70. I'm not telling you how old I am. Catelli, spaghetti, $2.50. So I don't know. These are all sale prices though, right? So this is not giving you an indication of what just regular price stuff is so much. These are sale prices, right? Specials. A lot of candy and stuff. I don't eat that either. Don't eat a lot of that. Rarely ever do I ever eat any chocolate. I don't eat any chips. Maybe that's what's wrong with me. I need to start eating these chemical-laden foods to preserve myself. Too much natural food. It's probably killing me. No, you're too healthy. Oh, do these diapers come in Donnie T size? Limit of 4, $27. Well, I'm not going there. Yeah, we're into personal care items and stationery, pens. Oh, toy cars, basketball. Okay, now it's getting ridiculous. Pretty soon they'll be selling cars at the grocery store. You can do your banking here now. Man, it's not like it was when I was a kid. You went to the grocery store to get your damn groceries. Then you went to the bank to do your banking. Now you do your banking at the grocery store. Well, how come I can't buy my groceries at the bank? There's something wrong with that picture. Just saying.
World. Through violence and through terror, they once again seek to impose their ugliness on all of us. The old dogma was wrong. The old dogma was wrong. None of this is driven by idealism. It is not utopian. In fact, it is the opposite. One of the criticisms you sometimes hear of communism, for example, is that it sounds good in theory, but it never works in practice. That's actually not true. Communism does not sound good in theory. The world it envisions for all of us is small, flat, gray, leveled of all exception, drained of all that is good and noble in the human soul. The world it envisions is a world without courage, a world without creativity or ambition, a world without heroes or glory or great causes to strive towards. a world without miracles, without myths, without men who rise above the rest to do incredible and extraordinary things. And the world communism envisions is a world without God. For these architects of revolutionary violence, the towering achievement of our civilization, for them, it's an unbearable humiliation.
Yeah, you know, the thing here is, though, you can see that this is just the age-old face-off between communists and fascists. Same old play, same old script. Just being cast with a new bunch of characters, freshened up a little bit for a modern audience. He's sitting there saying that, it's communism devoid of exceptional men. They want to control everything, blah, 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 blah. Well, you're getting extremism on the other side too, right? Because in Trump world, in Marco Rubio world, you have guys who have so much money, they can fly around in giant space dildos. While millions starve. You can have a group of people who fly around the world, meet with other world leaders, a group of people who control the corporate purses, and sit shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow with the power brokers from government, in league with them. We saw it in China. That's not the people. That's not a government of the people. That's a government of the oligarchs. Working hand in glove with the government. That's just extremism on the other side. And if you want to deprive people of opportunity, if you want to deprive people of equal opportunity, that's also what you're hearing in Rubio's speech right there. I'm not in favor of any kind of terrorism or people tearing anything down. But I see both sides. And the reality, I think, is not on either extreme end. Those words that he's sharing with us there tonight, that's not the answer. Not in my view. That's not free market anything. That's not freedom. I know exactly what that is. That's the dark side of America. The best of America is everything in between. What he's talking about and what the other people are talking about. It's somewhere in the middle. The key is to find the sweet spot, the balance, the place where everything works the best it can for everyone. Let's take a break. We'll end the broadcast on the news side there. Then we're going to go to our Maverick Midnight Matinee movie tonight. I don't think anybody guessed. I gave such vague clues. It's hard for me to give clues that would give anybody without giving it away on this one. It's a movie made in the 1950s. And it's a love story. That's as far as I'm going. If anybody guesses it, I'll send you a free t-shirt. I don't know how else to give clues, though, just giving it away. But it's a good one. It's a good one. And since we were talking tonight about groceries, well, you know what I have to run to end the broadcast tonight. Before I do that, just a reminder that if you want to join us for the movie, the watch party, which is just about to begin, you have to go to our Rumble channel or one of the other platforms. If you're on YouTube, we're going to shut it down over there. We can't run these things on YouTube. They don't like it. We get in trouble if we do that, and we don't want to get thrown in YouTube jail, so we're banished. So we will be signing off from YouTube. But thank you to all our YouTube Mavericks for joining us tonight on the broadcast. And with that, it's time to take a very expensive, inflationary midnight grocery run. And I'll see you guys back on the other side from Maverick Midnight Matinee.
Under neon lights after 24/7. Cereal boxes stacked like they're from heaven. Cartwheels squeak while hearts untucked. Past the pickles and we're straight up struck. Midnight grocery run, feeling so divine. Bananas in the basket and we're losing track of time. Laughing through the aisles with you right by my side. This midnight grocery run's a wild ride. Frozen pizzas and a chocolate pie. Scanning items neath the starry sky. Fluorescent glow makes everything so real. In this wonderland we break the seal. Midnight grocery run, feeling so divine. Bananas in the basket and we're losing track of time. Laughing through the aisles with you right by my side. This midnight grocery run's a wild ride. Here's what they know the drill. Roulette moments give a midnight thrill. We dance down our floor like no one sees. Just some dreamers lost in fantasies. Midnight grocery run, feeling so divine. Bananas in the basket and we're losing track of time.